Morning all. Please give me a hands up if you can hear me and see the charts. So only about half of you have put your hand up so far. Please confirm the rest of you. It only requires a click of a button, but I need to make sure that you can see. Perfect. Okay, cool. Right. We'll get going. Just a couple of quick questions. Okay, Tarek asked a good question. If you're following the 15-minute chart and using the 1 minute for entry, do you then manage on the 15-minute or the 1 minute? No. So if you're, whatever time frame you're basing the overall analysis on, that is what you manage it on. The lower time frame. So for example, if you're trading on 5 or 15-minute, the final entry is done on the 1 minute, or if you're trading on, let's say, the hour chart, the final entry would be done on like a 15-minute or a 5-minute or something. As soon as you've placed the entry, you go back to the original time frame. So, you know, in my case, I trade the 5-minute chart, and then it would I'll go into the 1 minute for entry, and then as soon as I've placed my entry, placed my stops, whatever, I'll go back onto the 5 minute, and then I won't look at the 1 minute again, because obviously my stop is in place, and then I have my 5 minute in place. The only time I'd look at the 1 minute is if, for example, let's say on Dow, it happens less frequently on FX, but if on Dow price rockets off in one direction, for example, only then would I go onto 1 minute and then manage the trade on the 1 minute chart. So I using like a 1 minute ribbon or something like that. But if it's kind of a gradual move, then I'll stay focused on 5 minutes. So for example, like GBP JPY overnight, it was all based on higher time frame management. Before, you know, which is why I didn't send you an alert overnight to trail stops or anything, because in my opinion at that time it hadn't moved far enough or moved enough at all to warrant moving the stops, especially when you consider overnight the spreads widen as well. So I didn't want to be taken out, and obviously we woke up this morning to a nice profit, so well done for all of you who did take that trade. So we've had a couple of wins on the bounce now, which is good. Suren, just like to tell you, I'm deeply appreciative of what you teach, and truly do see some brilliance in your knowledge and methods. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I just need to know something. Did you have a losing day this month or the last? If you did, what do you attribute it to? Slow market day, etc. I did have a losing day. It was very, very small. It was, if from the way I trade, it was basically like close to break even. It wasn't in terms of what my normal kind of range is. It was a losing day though, but it was right at the start of the month. I think it was on the first Friday of the month actually, or the first day of the month, 1st of April. I can't remember without looking at my statistics. But yeah, it was extremely small. It was one of the days when I wasn't able to fully focus on the charts. I had my little baby with me. It was a non-webinar day. I think it was the Friday, and yeah, I just wasn't focused, so I didn't really trade that much. I think I only took one trade, which was a loser, a small loser, and then that was it. Otherwise, April's been actually, it's on course to being my best month of the year so far. So I'm extremely happy with the way it's gone. But you know, losing days, and you know, losing days do happen. I will probably, you know, statistically, I don't, you know, I don't think I've rarely, if ever, gone a whole month without a losing day. You know, losses happen. It's just, and to be honest, even a one-off losing day is not all that common. For me, it happens, especially because I trade quite aggressively as well. So naturally with aggressive traders, your overall hit rate is going to be lower. So there will be some days when things just don't work out, you know, but equally there's going to be other days where everything works out and it's a monster day and things go well. But yeah, you know, I don't hide the fact that I have losing trades and losing trades and losing days. Obviously, you've all seen on Swing as well. You know, like I've not hid any of the losing trades; they've all been there. But even though I think the worst run we had was 6 losing trades in a row, so -6R. But just in the last 2 trades, GBP JPY yesterday and GBP USD on Thursday, I think those 2 trades alone were 5R. So in 2 trades, we've basically made back the whole loss from the start of April. And you know, and obviously now we'll carry on moving on. So yeah, for anyone who's getting a bit frustrated with their own trading and thinking about losses and things like that, they happen. If you have a losing day, it's not a big deal. It doesn't matter. I have losing days. My dad has losing days. Everyone has losing days. You know, we're human. Sometimes we're not on top of the game, and sometimes you know we don't do things as efficiently as we should. The key lesson there, though, is recognize when you're not on your game. For example, for me on that day, I was not on my game. I could sense it, and then I just pack up and walk away. And it's as simple as that. You know, I didn't sit there trying to grind it out and trying to force trades when I knew that my mindset wasn't right or whatever. I just got up and walked away, turned it off, spent some quality time with my baby girl, and you know, came back the next day, and I was fresh. I was happy. You know, babies. Everyone knows who's spent any time with babies. Babies give you immense amount of joy and happiness. So you know, it was perfect for me. So yeah, you know, have that abundance mindset. There is an abundance of opportunity every day of the week, every month of the year. So if you miss one day, even if you miss 2 days, it doesn't matter. You know, walk away, have some time to yourself, and relax. I'm a beginner trading for most of the hours. At the end of the day, is it a normal? Someday will be a win, someday will be a loss. Is it all? Yeah, of course. Like when you're learning, obviously your level of mistakes are you know, going to be higher because you're still learning, right? Your number of errors are going to be higher. But the thing I want to stress more than anything is your you know, if you saw the chart I sent yesterday on the broadcast list, sorry, not the chart, the equity curve I sent, and the statistics from the MT4 broker statement, you saw that. Look at that equity curve. That was an equity curve that I'm sure all of you would be happy with. It was, you know, started low on the left, high on the right, which is perfect. His win rate was 40%, which means 6 out of 10 times he was wrong, right? But his equity curve was absolutely phenomenal. So it doesn't matter about having losses or making mistakes or making errors. That's fine. That's part of the game. The key thing is when you lose small, which is why, for example, in the swing, right? Every time we've lost 1R, and whatever I keep on saying all the time, like make sure you trade the same trade size, same trade size. So if you're risking £10 every trade, you stick to that. If you're risking £20, you stick to that. If you're risking £100, you stick to that, whether we're winning or whether we're losing. If we're winning, don't go nuts and go all in, and if we're losing, don't go nuts and go all in to try and make it back, right? Keep it steady. And that's why even when we go on losing runs, it doesn't take much to make all of that back and surpass it when we got on the other side, right? And start winning. Because obviously our winners are bigger than our losers, okay? So losing is part of the game, making mistakes is part of the game, as long as you obviously A, try and learn from the mistakes you make, and B, your losses, keep them as small as possible. Get into at a point close to the support and resistance that you can, as close as you can, close to trigger line, close to pivots, etc., because your stop is just going to be on the other side of the pivots or the trigger. So if you do that and you're close to the pivots or trigger, your stops are going to be fairly small. Therefore, your risk is going to be fairly small, and if the trade goes your way, then your reward is going to be quite big, right? You know, even if it's like 3 to 1, for example, 3 to 1, you only need to be right 25% of the time to break even, right? 26% of the time and more, you're in profit. So make things easy for yourself. Don't take 10 pips when there's 50 on the table. Don't take 1R return when there's 3R on the table. And don't extend your losses past 1R. If you know, you got to remember, you can always get in again. There's not like there's a limit that the broker says, oh, you can only take this one trade and that's it for the day. If in doubt, get out and then re-enter. And if you do that, you know, I do that a fair amount. I get in, and if I feel, oh, actually my entry wasn't great or whatever, you know, you know, it's not quite happening. It's going. This is a common one. You know, for example, you get in a trade and it kind of goes sideways and it doesn't really happen. You know, I'll get out. I'll reevaluate, because when you're not in a position, you think a lot more clearly than when you are in a position, right? So come out of the position, reevaluate where you are, and then if you want to get back in, even in the same direction, you get back in the same direction. You know, sometimes I've been stopped out, but I get back in the same direction as the original trade, because you know, the price has developed. We've seen something else. And actually, I think I was right in the first place. Maybe I was just unlucky or whatever, and I got stopped out. So you just carry on. Just focus on your analysis. Focus on the way that the chart, what the charts are telling you, and then you know, you'll learn fast. And as long as you keep your losses small, you'll be good to go. So yeah, that's the key thing: small losses, small losses, small losses. Cool. So that's the initial flurry of questions done. If you have any more, please do stick them through, but I'm going to go into the charts now. So let's start with Dow. So yesterday I did say to all of you on the broadcast, this trend line was pretty key. 1 hour chart. So this was a long that I took during the day. You had this kind of mini, it was very aggressive, right? It was very aggressive. So if you didn't pick it up, don't worry. But it came right down to the trend line. You had this mini, like mini double bottom, break up, pull back, retest again, failed. And I went long on this candle there. So basically break and bob on the 1 minute, yeah? But you can see how the trend line was respected here. This was yellow pivot up here. So it tried to break above, couldn't break through. And then this gave a really, really nice short setup here and all the way down. And I said that for anyone who trades in Asia or America, we've got a few clients in both areas. Overnight would provide you with a good short opportunity if this breaks, and you can see that it gave a really nice double top in here. After the break of the trend line, you had that, and then bang, all the way down. So anyone in Asia, that's 400 odd pips there. So anyone in Asia or America, if you're trading the Asian session, I do hope you got in. Right now, it is literally just a case of continuing on the short side. It's, you know, lower high, lower high, lower high. It's just literally carry on with it, unless if you see something different. Currently, it's still 15 minutes to market open, so waiting for this break. Usually in scenarios like this, what I love to see is like a little fake out above a pivot. So red pivots here. So if we get kind of a fake out like this, then I think, you know, it'll be really nice. Plus that will give us a little bit more of a deeper pullback to 0.1. So yeah, that's what, if we can get a nice little fake out at market open, like a spike up and then pull back with a lower high soon after, then I think this could be a really good short for the duration of the day. So let's see, or, you know, potential short, and then we can look to add as the day goes on. DAX as well, you know, very, very similar, lower high, lower high, lower high. So it's just a case of, again, if we can get a slightly bigger pullback in here, then we can certainly look for shorts after market open. Gold, so is on a bit of a bullish run. Well, I say a bit of a bullish run. It's on a massive bullish run, and we've had a couple of nice trades on it. Currently, right now, it's doing this sort of retest of this trigger line here, on the 1 hour. So right now, right as of this moment in time, my overall bias to this is still on is now on the downside. We've had the arrow on the 1 hour. We've had a pullback retest, and this looks like at this moment in time is creating a bit of a lower high here. Okay, we've had a bit of consolidation here and a fall away. Ideally, it would be nice if we get in a sort of a double top type of thing here and then start falling on the hourly chart. If that happens, that's good. If it doesn't happen though, that's fine. What I will wait for though is a nice big V-shaped 1, 2, 3. So if anyone who doesn't know what V-shapes and A-shapes or how to pick them, so something like this, you see, this is a really obvious V-shape. Yeah, really, really obvious V-shape, which happened at a key resistance level, which is the 1 hour 1 hour trigger. 1 hour trigger is usually very, very good on all charts, support and resistance. So it's something that you can keep in mind. And as you obviously all know, I always start my analysis on the 1 hour on every single chart just to get the overall kind of theme of the chart before moving on. So right now, if we can get a nice V shape, right now this is just a bit sideways. There's no kind of clear direction here. If we can get a nice V shape over a bit of time, then I think this could be a good potential short. Otherwise, if we get a clear break back above this level here, we can look for longs on A-shaped pullbacks, 1, 2, 3s. However, as long as price is below this level on the hourly chart, my bias would be to the short side. Okay. GBP. Okay, so this, I mean, you can see why, for example, if some of you have been wondering why some of the FX alerts have been a bit quiet over the last couple of weeks, is because we've had movement like this, you know. And there's not much you can do with stuff like that. You know, like I say, I always look for trades which have good potential. I don't really scalp myself personally. My dad's a great scalper. I'm not a great scalper, so hence why I don't scalp. I look for slightly bigger moves and holding them over time. But cable looks like it's starting to break out of this and move down. It's cleared these lows, this double bottom, which is good. So on here, it's just a case of shorting every pullback. So this is one that I'm looking at right now for a potential short. But what I'd want to see is, because it's on the 1, because it's on the 5, because we are moving down and we are in this mini downtrend, I don't need to see a V-shaped pullback on 5 minute after the break. The concern here is the pullback is very less compared to what we would usually like. However, if this trend line breaks in here, okay, if this trend line breaks and we get a V shape on the 1 minute chart, I'd be happy to take this short with stops just above 0.3. Okay, which means that if it goes our way, great, we're in. And if it doesn't go our way and it wants to do a deeper pullback to 0.1, we're risking very little. Okay, so if we take the loss, we take a small loss. Okay, right now, currently it's above 1 minute trigger, and you can see it's doing high, low, high, low, high, low. It has put in this double top at the red pivot, which is a good sign. But I'd still want to see a break. Hopefully, if we can get this to go a little bit more sideways for the next 9 minutes, and then we get a break closer to the red pivot, that'd be perfect. But currently, the bias is short. The only thing with this is the pullback is, like I said, is not as big as I would have liked. GBP JPY. So I wanted to talk you through this, the swing trade we took last night. And I'll share my analysis and why we took the trade with you, so you guys get a bit of an idea about what type of things I look for. So 1 hour chart, we had the down arrow a couple of days ago, and price has basically settled below the 1 hour trigger. Okay, Thursday, this was the time we went short on cable in here. Obviously GBP JPY moved down as well, but we took the cable and we banked on that. Since then, we've had this double top. Although we've had support here, we've had lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. But this was a double top followed by a breakdown. I didn't want to take a short here because at this point in time, although there was a double top, there was a double bottom. Here we had a higher low, all right, but I didn't want to take a long because we had the double top. When we moved back up, it created a lower high, and again the 1 hour trigger was holding for the third time, right? So although there was this higher low here, prices were being pushed down, pushed down, pushed down, which was my indication that actually on a medium time frame this is going to move down. I didn't jump in. I waited for confirmation, and then at this point I went on to the 15-minute, right? Again, looking at V shapes. Here you go. Look at this V shape. Create a double top here, and look at how, if I can get that box, there you go, in here. Can everyone see this V shape? Put your hands up. It's on the 15-minute chart. This 1, 2, 3. Can everyone see it? Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I didn't just jump in short at the first sign. I waited for confluence. Then I went onto the lower time frame, looked at this, looked at my entry. It was here. Okay. And then where am I wrong? I was going to be wrong up here, up above here, up above here. So that was my stop. And then obviously with the swing, I just operate a 3-to-1 3-to-1 ratio, just to keep it simple for obviously the people who the room is designed for, which is those who can't monitor the charts and are at work or whatever. So take that trade, 3-to-1s, bank down here, perfect. Yeah, easy as you like. But so that is how I do the analysis. Okay, so I hope that's clear, because I've had a few questions on that over email and on the webinar before as well. There's nothing complicated about it. There's nothing complicated about it. It's just the same system looking for the same things, just on slightly higher time frame, and that's literally it. So it was a really nice trade on that. So who took it? Because even when we took the trade, it did move sideways for a good sort of half an hour or so. So I think there was a lot of opportunity for people to get in. Okay, cool. Quite a few of you. So well done. Good job. Awesome work. As of right now, on GBP JPY, there's nothing I want to do on this right now. There's no clear kind of entry point for me. So moving on, GBP New Zealand Dollar. This is swinging in big ranges, but it is in a bit of a range. However, it's still enough to get a decent move out on intraday level. We took a nice long, I think it was on Thursday here, I think it was, or somewhere, or maybe it was the day before here, I can't remember. Oh yeah, I think it was here. So we took a nice trade here, riding to the upside. Right now, this happened early morning, like I was asleep at this point, so we missed that move yesterday. It has since rebounded. Right now, in terms of what we're going to take in the webinar this morning, there's nothing really I want to take right now on this. For the short, I'd be more inclined to go on the short side here rather than the long side, based on what I'm seeing. However, on the higher time frames, however, if price does dilly-dally and can't really break through yellow is kind of my line in the sand, and then if we get a 1, 2, 3 above here, I think I'd be more than happy to take a long on this. I wouldn't want to take it up here far away from the pivots. What I'd want is price to kind of settle and move into this region here, and if it doesn't show any willingness to go lower, then wait for an A shape to go long. If it does break this line here and we get a nice V shape, then I'd be happy to take a short. But again, A's and V's are key, your 1, 2, 3s, all right? Euro similar to the cable. It's been ranging a fair bit, but it looks like it's just starting to move down a little bit now. So on the lower time frames, this is very similar to cable in the sense that the pullback, I mean, it's even less than cable. So as of right now, I wouldn't be keen on taking a short here because the pullback's so low, and like I said, I don't really scalp. What I'd really want is this to start moving up towards yellow pivot, and if we can get up to yellow pivot, I'd be much more keen to take a short. Otherwise, I'm happy to let this go. But if for later in the day, if you get this move retracement back into yellow pivot, and we get a break of this trend line here, then it could be a nice short. Euro JPY again has moved overnight, it's continuing its downtrend. Medium term, is there anything I want to do on this right now? Nope. Non-existent pullback. So yeah, nothing really short term. Euro Aussie dollar. I just found a really nice base of support in here. Do I want to take a long on it right now? No. What I really want to see is a clear move above 1 hour trigger line and a nice pullback. If we can get something like that, I'd be much more happy to take a short. So if I give you kind of an example, in my view, currently we're in kind of this bit, right? We're just broke on the other side of the trigger and it's just consolidating here. What I'd want is something like this to happen and then that. Okay, so give us that V shape, and then I'd be more open to taking a long. So I want the same scenario that happened there on the other side. So it's kind of consolidating. I want to move up, move down on the hourly before kind of really I can think for longs. On the swing side, on the intraday side, yellow pivot is key here at the moment. Do I want to take a short? I'd only take a short if there's a clear V shape, which there isn't now at this moment in time. If we can get a clear V shape, then I'd be cool to take a short, so something like this over a period of a couple of hours. Yeah, similar to that, to give us 0.1 and 0.3 close together. Right now, it's quite steep, so I'd stay aside from that. On the long side, on the intraday basis, what I'd want is either a double bottom at yellow, or a break and a kind of W shape here. And if we get that W shape above red, then we can look for longs. So something to kind of keep in mind. So either there, like this, or if it breaks up here, I'd want a double retest of red before doing that. Okay. Those are my scenarios. For the short side, I'd only wait. I'd want something like this before I get in, okay? Because it's currently above 1 hour trigger. Have a quick look at indices. Cool. Okay, so 8 o'clock markets opened. Aussie JPY, again, not a massive pullback. So, I just want to have a quick look at cable. Aussie JPY, not a massive pullback, so I don't really want to do business here right now. Aussie CAD, nothing really jumps out to me. It's stuck in this kind of little rangey bit again. So on the hourly chart, and the range is not huge. It's only 50 pips, and you're never going to get in at one extreme or the other. So, when it's like this, you simply stay away. So I just want to keep an eye out on cable. Okay, let's quickly cover the rest off. CAD is at support. It's at a strong support. I was looking at this earlier before we started about potential short here, but because it's so close to the support level, which is in this region, Again, I didn't think there was enough scope on the trade to take an entry with a view of a big profit. So that, it's a common thing that happens. You see a lower high, you see price below trigger right at support, and you short it, and then it goes down a little bit, and then it barrels up the other way because it's at support and the support held. Always look to, you don't want to short at a support, and you don't want to buy at a resistance. For example, yesterday over Asia would have been a decent entry somewhere up here, which you had a big scope for a move. This could obviously break through, but it's not what I would class as a low risk setup because it is right at support. Okay, cable's just breaking through this trend line here, which is good. So if we get in a short here, maximum our stops are going to be here. Okay, so just above red pivot, so at 419. Right now price is at 24.03, but remember we're waiting for this 123. Okay, so I'm going to patiently wait. If price does barrel through and just collapses, then fine, so be it. I'm not going to chase it. USD JPY. Yeah, so I mean, again, on the hourly chart you can see kind of the constriction that it's in. It's not really kind of the range top to bottom. This is only 50 pips again. So again, scope of a move is not all that great. For scalpers, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's always opportunities to get in. For someone who's looking for a slightly bigger move, there's not a real clear sense of direction in USD JPY. So again, just stay away if it's not there. USD CAD is just continuing the up move away. Again, I didn't look for anything here because you had this big congestion here, and I don't think it's really kind of broke down to the downside and this came straight back into this area. So again, it's not massively clear on the swing side where it wants to go. In terms of the intraday, decent entry. Asia right now, this was not again, pullbacks are not that much, hence why I wasn't really looking at it as much as possible. Try and aim for those perfect opportunity setups, perfect trades, where everything ticks the boxes. If it doesn't, then walk away and wait for the next opportunity. This didn't really tick my boxes, because even the break, by the time the trend line broke, it was far away from the trigger line. What I would have wanted to see in order to take this trade is if price came down here and then broke somewhere here closer to the trigger, because that would have given a deeper pullback. Price would have been close to the pivots and the trigger at entry point, whereas here it's quite far away. Okay. And USD CHF, again, similar kind of scenario, pullbacks very little compared to the move here, so there's nothing clear. So right now the only real trade on my books is GBPUSD, just waiting for a V-shape 123, or Dow, if that kind of materializes to the short side. I don't really want to go long on it, not in this, it's not that I don't really want to go, I don't want to go long in it at all in this current scenario right now with the price action. But that looks like it still might take a bit of time. So GBP USD is the one. So let's just focus on that for a minute. Does anyone have any other charts they want me to have a look at that I haven't covered? Because we've only really got one on the watch list this morning. Obviously Asia, it's moved quite a lot of the charts, so that does impact London session, but it does mean that we'll probably get some decent moves later in the day. So yeah, if anyone does have any charts they want me to look at, please do ask. FTSE and Aussie dollar, cool. Aussie dollar. Above all, more than anything, actually, let me change that. Like I keep on stressing, be incredibly patient when waiting for the trades and the entries. And you know, if you miss an opportunity, fine, but just wait for that perfect opportunity. I've shown so many times, like for, you know, like the latest example being Friday, when, you know, I was walking you through what I was doing personally, and I hadn't taken a trade. The first trade I took was at 8 o'clock at night on a Friday because the Dow set up at that time. Yeah, I didn't really take anything else in the day. Well, not really. I didn't take anything at all in the day, and this was the long. Initially, we were looking for the shorts here. It didn't play out like I would have liked it to, so I didn't take it. The setup wasn't as what I wanted to see, and then we went long here, and a few of you messaged me to tell me you did take that trade, and look, bang. Yeah, I missed this trade. I wasn't at my desk at that time, so I missed that entry. But here, look at that. Like, you wait for the right setup, wait for things to tick your boxes, and bang, straight line up. Yeah. And there's always going to be opportunities like that. So just be patient and wait for the perfect setup. FTSE, okay, so FTSE is very similar to the other indices. You start on the hour. It's found some really strong support in this region, you know, going back to here. Okay, and now it's created a big lower high in here. So my bias really would only be to the short side on this. It's at yellow pivot now, so look for signs of failure at at yellow pivot, and then I think this could be a nice short. If price breaks above yellow pivot, then you can stand aside for the time being. Yellow pivot and the 1 hour trigger in this instance are coinciding perfectly, and as I said, 1 hour trigger does provide some excellent support and resistance. So you know, keep an eye on that and how this hour closes. Obviously, the market's just opened 9 minutes ago, but as of right now, my bias would be to the short side. DAX I've already covered, but again, it's, you know, like I said, it's very similar to Dow. You've got a big, strong resistance in here, double top on the hourly chart. It's broken down below the hour trigger. 5 minute, what I said was this pullback's very little right now, or well, this was up here somewhere when we started talking about it. I'd want it to get closer to the yellow, so it's starting to move up, but I'd want it to get closer to the yellow before I start thinking about shorts. But again, my bias to this is firmly on the downside. Look at the BMIs; they're all red. Aussie dollar, okay, cable, fine. Aussie dollar, again, similar to the other major pairs, has broken down like cable. Is doing this pullback right now. Bias again firmly to the short side. BMIs are all red on this. Just wait for a break of trend line. This is a decent pullback, so it's not too bad. If we can get a double top or a retest of yellow and failure at yellow, that would be perfect. However, I wouldn't be against shorting this break of here, mini 1 2 3 on the 1 minute, like so, and then I'll look to go short. So that looks good as of right now. Anything else? No. Okay. Does anyone have any questions non-charts, so for example, like psychology-based questions or anything like that. If there's any technical questions like, you know, I've got an issue with MT4 or anything like that, then email me. I won't answer those on the webinar. But if it's kind of, you know, specifically trading related that can benefit the whole group, then please do ask. Right now, the only thing I'm really looking at is cable, so have a bit of time while that sets up. Well, and Aussie dollar. Can you draw a more aggressive trend line on DAX? Yeah, you can. You can. If you want to get in like aggressive, well, I mean, I'd probably, even on the 1 minute, if you want to get in, I'd draw my trend line here, have this double top at red, so break, pull back, you can get in here. But if you do that, your stops has to be aggressive as well. So literally on the other side of the red pivot, so, you know, 40 odd pips maximum. Don't start sticking your stops off above yellow and things like that if you could take in aggressive entries. If you're getting in aggressively, you have to manage it aggressively as well. Okay. We tend to use 1 hour more as Jason uses time frame. Yeah, so I mean, I've said kind of numerous times on the webinar that we have slightly different trading styles. He scalps and he's very good at scalping, and there are obviously a lot of members on this webinar that like to scalp, whereas I, to be honest, don't really like to scalp. I prefer taking a trade and looking for a large chunk of the day's range. So I will look at the general direction of the 1 hour chart to kind of get a feel for what it's doing. But the indicators in itself, the swing and the intraday, and well, especially the swing, which is based on the higher time frames, that will give you that indication anyway. So if you don't want to worry yourself with looking at the hourly chart and things like that, you can use the indicators, which do all the price action analysis for you. And if it's red, then you simply look for shorts. And if it's green, then you look for longs. You know, there's no need to overcomplicate it. So don't concern yourself with, you know, the differences between what I'm doing and what Dad's doing. For you, just follow the basic things that we teach you right now. My trading is in a very different position to where you are right now. So, you know, for example, what I do is not really relevant to many on here. What I want you to do is focus on the really basic things that you need to do, which is focus on the 1, 2, 3s, V shape, A shapes, and essentially just trade in the direction of the BMI bars. Yeah. So if it's red, you look for shorts. If it's green, you look for longs. And it's as simple as that. You know, is there a support in place? Yes. Then you can look for longs. Is there not a support in place? No. Okay, so no longs. Is there a resistance in place? Yes, you can look for shorts. If there's no resistance in place, then you don't look for shorts. It's as simple as that. Still waiting for Aussie and cable. Patiently waiting. Any other charts anyone's looking at? Now's a good time to share while we're waiting. Still could be a bit of time before these setups, these trades actually materialize. Happy to go on for another 5-10 minutes or so if it does happen. If it doesn't, then you know what to look for. You know what we're looking for. The Aussie dollar, we're waiting for a candle close below this trend line on the 5 minute, then a mini pullback, and then we go short. Longs, I wouldn't really look at longs right now on this because you can see that it's just lower high, lower high. If it, as long as it stays below yellow, my bias is on the short. And it's literally as soon as we get a candle close 5 minute below this trend line, mini pullback, we go short. Cable, this is really my favorite setup out of them. This is one I think that has the most potential. So again, candle close 5 minute below the trend line, mini pullback 1 minute, and we look for short. Aussie JPY, do you mean Aussie dollar? USD JPY. So USD JPY, Joy, I'm less keen on taking that right now because of the way the chart's behaving. I mean, I wouldn't short it here, definitely not. If you wanted to aggressively short it, it would be up here. I wouldn't take a short down here. It's far away from the trigger and pivots. Do you see? And also, there's no pullback. You know, this is not a proper pullback. Even here, like 20 minutes ago, this is not a proper pullback and not a proper V shape. Do you see that? So, and again, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, the rate is very rangy. It's not. There's no real clear kind of direction. It's you know, ideally what I'd want is a clear, nice break below either the lows or the highs and a nice pullback to create a lower high or a higher low before getting in the trade. So you could say that this developing right now is 0.1 to 2. So if we can take out this low, create a lower low, give us a 0.2 to 3, then we can look for a short on the swing side. On the intraday side, the only real entry really was here, and even that was what that was at just after 3:30, quarter to 4. So exactly, yeah, need to pull back minimum to red pivot. You know, so if you say that this is 0.1 here. At a minimum, it'd need to pull back here. But ideally, like I said, what I'd like to see is that low taken out on the hourly chart, because right now you can see that that could potentially provide a bit of support. And actually, if you extend that line across all the way to here, look at the number of bottoms here, bottom, 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 wick, bottom. Do you see? So it's a fairly strong support level. So I'd want to see that give in and then a pullback before shorting down here. Okay. Rubina, Aussie JPY, but I wasn't looking at Aussie JPY, so just clarify for me. Are you talking about Aussie dollar? If assuming you're talking about Aussie dollar, no, my stop wouldn't be above yellow. My stop would be here. Yep, literally just above the other side of red. Or above this wick. Yeah, so let's say at 24, 20, call it 25, round figure. Okay, so you're risking maybe 13 pips by the time you get in, 12, 13 pips. If you want to be even tighter, you can do it just above red pivot, so around about 20, so you'd be risking about 9 or 10 pips. Okay. The reason why is because I look at basically where's providing the most immediate form of resistance, and right now you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles, all of them touching the red pivot, wicking, right? So that's obviously holding nicely. Yeah. So all this little attention to detail is quite important. You see how it's holding nicely. If this does break down here, price will be firmly below red, firmly below 5-minute trigger. Below it's broken the support trend line. Ribbon is starting to slope down. Everything's looking good, so there's no need to have like a 27 pip, 30 pip stop loss on Aussie dollar, which 30 pips could be like half the day's range. So it's all about thinking about your risk to reward. So I'd be happy to have my stop here, and if I get taken out, so be it, but it'd only be a small loss. And also that would protect me from, I'd only take the trade if we get a break and close, a clear break and close below this. So that means that if price moves back up and takes me out here, then what's happened is we've had a fake out. So then it protects me from the fake out as well. Yeah. Does that make sense, Rubina? Perfect. Okay. So as always, limit your losses as much as possible. Keep them as small as possible. You want to be stingy with your losses, and you want to be very liberal with your profits. Okay. Okay. Euro Aussie dollar. So this is still around here. So remember, this is a scenario I've drawn out that we're looking for. It doesn't look like it wants to pull back to yellow. So now I'm looking for this. I want a break above and have this like double bottom at red pivot happen, and then we look for longs if that happens. Okay, Aussies still, we'll give it another few minutes, see what happens. Any other questions, guys? See, trading is probably 5% action, maybe not even that, and 95% waiting. And if you want to make money, the most important thing that you need to do is learn how to wait. Okay, I showed you that equity. I hope all of you, can you give me a hands up? Have you all seen the chart that I've sent yesterday? Not the chart, the equity curve and the win profit loss ratio. Only about half of you so far. Everyone else need to know if you've seen it. Don't lower your hands, leave them up. Okay, so still only half of you have put your hands up. If you haven't seen it, go back onto the chat and look at what I sent yesterday, the equity curve, and look at the guy's win ratio, right? I'm sure there's trades in there that hasn't followed the system, or have been aggressive trades or bad trades or whatever, yeah? But the point is that overall he's been patient, he's waited as much as possible to take decent trades, even if they haven't worked out. And if he has made mistakes, his mistakes are small and his losses are small. Yeah. So you've all seen how I trade. If there are 10 trades to take in a day, I will take 10 trades. If there are no trades to take in a day, I will take no trades. It's learning that patience. That's how you make money. You don't make money by taking trades. You make money by staying out of the shit trades. Does that make sense to everyone? Because even a monkey can press a button, and I mean an actual monkey can press a button and be right 50% of the time on probabilities, right? Just randomly, okay? Just click a button, because 50% of the time the price is going to go up and 50% of the time the price is going to go down, right? It's a 50-50 outcome, okay? On that individual trade. So, okay, Aussie dollar looks like it's moved down. So on that individual trade, it's 50-50 outcome. So what you want to do is, as much as possible, stay out of the crap trades, because you will make trades that give you money. Okay, so if you want to be profitable, don't, at this moment in time, don't think about getting more winning trades. At this moment in time, think about how to stay out of the crap trades. And notice, I'm not saying losing trades. I'm not saying losing trades, and I'm choosing my words carefully, because losing trades are inevitable. They will happen. But what I'm saying is stay out of crap trades, which don't follow the system. Does that make sense to everyone? Please give me a hands up so I know that you follow, because it's a really, really important point. Awesome, good work. On Aussie dollar, once it breaks, you will still be going to 1 minute and wait for pullback and break above, correct? Yes, exactly. Yeah, Brush. Yes, exactly that. So we've got a few seconds till candle closes, like 6 seconds. It looks like we're getting this break, which is good. So we do have this wick on the trend line, but this is the line of best fit. You see the line follows here nicely all the way up. This. So this is the right trend line. It's there. So now we've had our confirmed break. So I'm happy with this. This is good. What I want is a pullback in here. And if we get a mini pullback here, it doesn't have to be much. Even if it's just enough to test the ribbons, that's good. And then we can look to take a short. Stops, my stop is going to go here. So let's say our entry is down here. So this is about 11 pip stop, 12 pip stop if you count for spread or whatever, okay? Okay. How do I know how many seconds left? So if you click on the date, the market watch, you've got this clock here. So it gives you the actual time that the chart is using. Yeah. So right now it's like, for example, 11 seconds, 12 seconds. So there's 45 seconds left of this 1 minute candle, or 3.5 minutes almost of the 5 minute. Okay. So hopefully we'll get in on this trade here. Pullback is happening now, so that is good. Okay, so again, this pullback is good. Get break and bob below here. We'll be looking to take this short. We'll call it a day after this. So obviously I'll continue over broadcasts. So Melville, do find that email and send me a request, and we'll check it out. I'll add you to the groups. So just send me a test message on the WhatsApp, okay? No worries. New Zealand JPY, cool. I'm not going to look at it now. Obviously, it's looking at this short, and then we're going to pack up. So just wait for this entry. But I'm having a look on New Zealand JPY on my other screen, and it's quite far away from the trigger and everything. So I wouldn't short, and the pivots. So yeah, personally I wouldn't take that short here. Okay, getting ready. Just want a little bit of a push below that, and then I'll get in. Remember, guys, keep your trade sizes small. If you're new, then literally just trade the bare minimum, 0.01. And just get to grips with the system. If you're more experienced, then obviously, yeah, trade larger, trade your usual trade sizes. Okay, I'm in. Okay, cool. So my stops are literally just above the red pivot. If it gets back, if it starts breaching the red pivot, I don't want to be in the trade. TP1 matches up to my stop, and TP2 is currently just down here. But where do I think price could potentially go? It could, I mean, this, if price starts moving down, then this is definitely in game, this double bottom here. And I think this will get taken out. Potential areas where price could stick here and here. Okay. So what I would probably suggest is, especially those who are trading larger trade sizes, take your TP1, let your TP2 run. When it gets down to here, you can take half of your remaining TP2 off. So when it's in this region, take half of your remaining TP2 off and leave the other half to run and trail your stops. All right, guys? Now, regardless of whether this trade wins or loses, and as I always say, and as you guys know, I always say I don't care whether it wins or loses. Do you see how we followed the system and we were so patient? Put your hands up if you like understood what we did and why we did it. Yeah. Bob, do you see how we did Bob? So break of the 5 minute candle, draw the line across, right? 1 minute. And then we waited. Even here, this will kind of wick through. We didn't take that. I waited for a push, a clear push momentum below. Okay. And even waiting for that momentum, it looks far, it actually from the trigger, but it's really not. It's like 4 pips, 5 pips, right? And our stop is only 10 pips. But look at how waiting for that additional momentum within sort of seconds, we're 4 or 5 pips in profit, okay, which is half of our TP1 target, okay? So you wait for that momentum. If it goes against us, it goes against us, that's fine. But we've waited for everything that we should have waited for, yeah? Does everyone understand, especially those that are potentially struggling with Bob that I've spoken to previously? Do you see and understand how I did the Bob in this instance? Put your hands up so I know that you follow. Perfect. Okay. Fantastic stuff. So, guys, I hope. Obviously, we've only taken one trade, and it was a long wait for it. It's been an hour and 15 minutes, but hopefully it will be worth it. And I hope that the webinar, you've picked up some good lessons from it, especially around patience is vital. Okay, one question. When you break Bob, must you wait for the candle to close first or go for it on the break? So I don't wait for the candle close. I go when it breaks, but it needs to show a bit of momentum. So technically, you see this little wick in here, it broke this candle, right? So technically it broke, but it was very small, so I didn't take it. I waited for that bigger push. So we got that bigger push on that candle, so I took it. Okay, but as you get more experience, you'll understand, and it will become a little bit more clearer. But if you just follow the basic principle of a 5 minute break, draw the line across, and then wait for Bob, more often than not, even if your Bob is not perfect, if you wait for that basic instruction of break on the 5 minute chart, you'll do fine, and more often than not, you'll be fine. Okay. GBPUSD, okay, cool, good spot. Right, so GBPUSD, so we have that 5 minute candle close here. What I would like though is a proper V-shaped pullback. It hasn't really done that. So you see on Aussie, we had this kind of nice, over a few minutes, like 4 or 5 minutes, we had this nice little V-shape. On cable, it hasn't really done that to the same extent, so I would have prefer, before I get in, have a V shape like this. If that happens, then I would get in short. Okay, so this is for all of you that are on the webinar right now, have this on your watch list. Okay, this could be something that sets up in the next few minutes, so keep an eye on it. If it doesn't, then let it go. Yeah, if you don't get that right setup, let it go, don't chase it. Okay, there'll be many opportunities to take. Cool. I hope it was, okay, when would you move your stop to entry? Only when you've taken TP1 or when you're confident on trend? Confident on trend. So I think I touched on this earlier. You know, there's a difference between people who are consistently profitable traders and people who are losing money. People who are consistently profitable traders focus on the charts and base their decisions on technical analysis. People who are struggling and are losing money focus their decisions based on their profit and loss. Okay, and that's another very, very important point. All right, wow, you guys are getting loads of little nuggets today. I hope you're writing them down. But that's extremely, extremely important to understand. Okay, that the people who do really well focus all their decisions based on what they see on the charts. The people who struggle are those who base their decisions based on P&L. Okay, and I'm not making that up. That's just fact, right? That's not only from my own experience when I was learning how the moment I made that switch to really switch my focus onto my actual technical side rather than the P&L, it made a drastic difference to my own performance. And even from people who I coach on a one-to-one basis, I know that when people are making decisions based on their P&L. Why? Because I've probably made all the same mistakes that people are making, right? So even if someone tells me, oh, I did this because of this, I did this because of this, it's pretty easy for me to tell what their the underlying motivation was. So ask yourself every single time, what is my motivation to take this trade? And if it helps, right, go onto your charts, tick off show trade levels, and then you can go back onto your chart, right? So we're on the 5 minute now. So you're looking at this chart now without any trades on there. What would you do now, right? Or for example, ignore the last couple of red candles. What would you be doing here? Of course, here you'd only be looking at short. Would I trail my stops in now? Let's just say TP1's been hit. Would I move my stop to entry? Well, given my entry was somewhere here, would I trail it in right now? No. Why? Because where is the resistance level? Resistance level here is here, right? So would I put my stop below the resistance level? No. Now, this is another little nugget that I'm going to give you, and I want you guys to write this down if you have a pen and paper or on your phone or whatever, right? This is a real good nugget, and it changed the way I think about things, okay? When you go short, you are selling. When you close that trade, what are you doing? Give me a quick answer. When you go short, you are selling. When you close that trade, what are you doing? Buying. Perfect. Yeah, lots of responses. Buying. So, excellent. Fantastic. No, not losing your profit. You're buying. Okay. So if you're closing out a short trade, you are buying, right? Now, that's how I want you to think of all of these trades. Not as oh, I went short, but initially I sold, and to close it, I'm going to buy it back. So do I want to buy at resistance? Answer the question. Would you buy at resistance? Before resistance has broken, would you buy? Yes or no? No. No, 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 no. Lots of no's. I love it. Okay, fantastic. When would you buy? After the break of resistance. Does that make sense? Is that correct? You would only buy after the break of a resistance. Yeah? Everyone agree? Hands up. Yeah, exactly. Perfect, right? So you only buy after a break of resistance. So if I'm short and I want to buy back my trade, is there a break of resistance? No. So my stop has to be at a point where resistance has broken. And it's the inverse for longs. If I'm long, my stop has to be where a support has broken. Yeah. So if this comes up, does a 1, 2, 3 like this, okay, like so. and then moves down. This is the new resistance point, okay? Because this is where price held and turned. Yeah. Now this particular price point could, for example, be the 5-minute ribbon. It could be the 1-minute trigger. It could be any number of things that you use to trail the stop. Okay. But whatever that point is, that would then become the resistance line, and your stop would go there. So that's how you trail the stop. Okay. So right now on Aussie dollar, we're getting this pullback. So if, for example, price comes back up the trigger and then starts moving down again and moves below this low down here, then you can trail your stops in to just above the trigger, because the trigger is the resistance line. Okay. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's clear on now how to think about where you're moving your stops and things like that. Yep. So you think about in terms of support and resistance and buy and sell. Okay. GBP now, okay, no, because there's no bob or anything like that. 1, 2, 3 is happening, but I'd want a clear break of break, and actually price has moved back above the 1-minute trigger, so I'm not interested in this now. What I'd want is so basically repeat, what I'd want is a close 5-minute below this trend line, mini pullback below 1-minute trigger, and then look for a break. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a day now. So I hope you've learned a lot. And obviously, if you have any questions on anything we've discussed, please do email me.